With her two children seated at her side, Shirley Ryan asked the public to pitch in any way possible so that her 41-year-old husband Jim, who is a salesman for Brownberry Bread, can undergo a transplant at the University of Minnesota, an operation expected to cost in the neighborhood of $100,000 to $150,000. The university is asking for a $100,000 down payment before the operation takes place, but there are essentially no public or research funds available, and insurance will not cover the operation because it's still considered experimental. Jackson Clinic cardiac specialist Dr. Paul Hinderaker says Ryan's heart muscle deterioration has become worse over the past few months, and his chances for survival without surgery are not good. Shirley Ryan asked the community to come up with ideas to raise money for a special fund for her husband, and says with help, she's optimistic the operation will take place.
There have been individuals already that are working on it. I have a lot of hope that because of Jim being so well known in the Madison area and having a lot of contacts, that I'm confident that we'll be able to do it.
Ryan says those wishing to help can send contributions to the James Ryan Heart Fund at Randall Bank, 1720 Monroe Street, Madison, Wisconsin, 53711. John Stofflet, Source 27 News.
Rock bands, clowns, pony rides, and dunk tanks. Weekend carnivals are commonplace all summer long, but this moneymaker has a special purpose. Madison Mayor Joseph Sensenbrenner has declared today Jimmy Ryan Heart Fund Day. Ryan is in the University of Minnesota hospital and needs $100,000 to pay for a heart transplant in order to save his life. Insurance does not cover the operation because it is considered experimental surgery. Ryan's 9-year-old son, Matthew, remains optimistic.
He'd make me feel real good if he got the transplant.
Ryan's wife, Shirley, says Ryan will be ready for the operation in about a week, but she's getting more nervous about their financial standing.
It's a matter of no money, no heart is exactly where it stands. And there's no question in my mind that they're firm about when they say that, they want $100,000 up front.
Shirley says they have raised about $40,000 so far, and this event is the biggest. But she says it's been a real emotional strain on the whole family, especially leaving her two children behind while she spends weeks in Minneapolis.
I think my 9-year-old understands. The 3-year-old, it's just a problem of the separation that he doesn't understand. He's been just hanging on to me for dear life over the weekend, so I'm sure that when I go back tomorrow, it's going to be even harder for him.
Today's festival has been sponsored by Friends of Jimmy Ryan and the Monona Grove Lions Club. If you would like to donate to the Jimmy Ryan Trust Fund, you can send your money to the Randall State Bank. For the next few weeks, special fundraisers will be held around the Madison area, including a dance, spaghetti dinner, softball tournament, and a Jimmy Ryan run. Heidi Kempf, Source 27 News, tonight.
So we could assist some of these other efforts, because before it's determined that, if in fact there are any other foundations are set up as such that. And I think everyone in Dane County could relate to it, because they could say, what if something like this happened to, one of my children, my wife, or myself, or one of my friends? And so everybody just got behind it. They do come about. We do end up with extra funds. It is the hope of the organizers of this fund and of Jim's family that a Wisconsin Transplant Assistance Foundation or fund can be established for other individuals like Jim.
It may have been raining in Minneapolis today, but it was all sunshine in the hearts of the James Ryan family. After waiting months for enough money and a suitable donor, Jimmy Ryan received a new heart in a 4-hour operation yesterday. Jim had been waiting since mid-July for the transplant, and the donor came in the form of a 20-year-old woman from Menasha, Sarah Kemps. Kemps was pronounced brain dead Tuesday evening in Appleton following an automobile accident. Lymph nodes were used to cross-match Ryan and Kemp, and once the match was complete, the donor's heart was flown to Minneapolis for the transplant. Ryan's surgeon, Dr. Chip Bowman, says the operation went smoothly and the prognosis is good.
If I were to honestly appraise Jim's chances, I would think that his chances of would be in the 70 to 80% range of living a year and probably 2 years. And then after that, we really don't know. Although transplants have lived up to 12 and 13 years with new hearts. So hopefully with cyclosporin, this will, we're hoping for long survival and trying to restore these people to, to a normal life.
Ryan suffered from heart deterioration and reportedly had had several attacks since arriving at University Hospital. Bowman adds that Ryan was an ideal candidate for the transplant due to his age and overall condition. But transplants don't come cheap. This one will cost close to $100,000. Mrs. Shirley Ryan says, however, that the Jimmy Ryan Heart Fund in Madison has hit that goal and given her husband and family a new beginning.
He's over this mountain. We know he's got several more mountains to climb, but I think the worst is over, and I think Jim's rocky roads maybe have been all before the surgery, and I think that maybe the smooth sailing was waiting for after.
Jim is listed in critical condition, but Dr. Bowman says that's perfectly natural following a heart transplant. Jim will have to stick around university hospitals for at least the next few months, but within 1 month he could be on an outpatient basis. Patty Nystuen, Source 27 News in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Today was a day that 41-year-old Jimmy Ryan of McFarland had undoubtedly hoped, prayed, and worked very hard for. At around 5 o'clock this afternoon, Ryan walked out of the University of Minnesota Hospital in Minneapolis to begin a new life. It's a life made possible by a family from Menasha willing to give the heart of their deceased daughter to Jimmy Ryan. It's also a life made possible by the hard work and perseverance of Ryan and his strong will to survive. And it's a life made possible by the love of literally thousands of people from and around the Madison area who donated close to $100,000 for the operation. Ryan received his new heart just 20 days ago. Dr. Chip Bowman, the man who performed the operation, told us this afternoon that Ryan has made tremendous progress since the operation. Biopsies taken from the new heart the past few days have come back perfect, indicating Ryan's body has for now been accepting the new heart. Jimmy Ryan will remain in the Minneapolis area most likely until the end of next month as an outpatient at the hospital. As his wife Shirley said, he's not out of the woods yet, but the events of today have to give encouragement. The light at the end of the tunnel is definitely a little brighter. Bob Sullivan, Source 27 News, tonight.
When Jimmy Ryan went to Minneapolis last year for his heart transplant, he had a lot of questions about what was going to happen to him, and not all of his answers came from doctors and nurses.
Seeing people that have gone through it makes you realize that it's possible. And seeing the professional staff on a daily basis and having their encouraging words that you're doing better and things are looking good for you, it all helps. You get the feeling that you are not in it by yourself, and there's other people helping you and going to help you and do their darndest to make sure that everything comes out good for you.
Ryan says he'll visit every heart transplant patient at the University of Wisconsin hospitals. He's already met with the family of Vernon Rohrbeck, the man who underwent a transplant yesterday, and Ryan plans to meet and talk with Rohrbeck tomorrow. He says it's all part of keeping a good mental attitude about the operation.
A lot of the cases of people who unfortunately didn't survive the ordeal of surgery and so forth are those that weren't prepared, I think, mentally. I think that they were so scared and didn't have the desire or the will to fight back.
Ryan says anything he can say or do to help other transplant patients is his way of saying thank you to everyone who helped him. Lori Freeman, Source 27 News, at the Ryan home in McFarland.
And most of our efforts since coming home have been just to maintain myself and get our family life back together. And since everything seems to be running so good for us, we thought it was at last time to make sure that people realize how grateful we've been for all the support that they gave us during a very trying time in our lives last summer and early last winter. By being there, they helped me realize that I could make it without any problem. The professional staff did all they could, but actually seeing somebody who went through it made it a lot of difference to me.
Just 1 year ago, McFarland resident Jimmy Ryan lay in a hospital bed in Minneapolis waiting for a heart. Without the heart transplant, his chance of survival was limited to days or weeks. The operation was performed on September 14th. It was a success, and today Ryan says he couldn't be better.
I've recently returned from Minneapolis for my yearly checkup, and everything was A-OK. Doctors are well pleased with my progress, and I'm fit as a fiddle and back in school and enjoying life.
Ryan says a heart transplant makes you a special member of an elite club, and that during his ordeal, he and his family received lots of support from other transplant patients. So these days, he wants to repay some of that kindness. He visited Stubbs Warbeck and Ray Eichmann at UW Hospital, both heart transplant patients, and Ryan plans to visit the latest addition to the club, Terrence Sellner.
Before my transplant, I was on pins and needles, to say the least, about what was going to happen to me and what procedures and all that type of thing. And just talking to people that had been through it, it alleviated a lot of pain. We could see that people had made it and were out walking around and being as normal as, you know, anybody.
Ryan's goals these days point toward a healthy future. He's anxious to get back to work and is taking classes at MATC in real estate. But he adds that he wants to continue helping transplant patients by being an example of what they can achieve. Patty Nicetune, 27 Live Eyewitness News.
17 years of operations, hospitalization, and rehabilitation unites 500 people here today, all representing heart surgery success stories. Success Madison's Methodist Hospital and Jackson Clinic staffers proudly celebrate. The feature speaker, none other than Jimmy Ryan, the man who received a new heart at the University of Minnesota just over 1 year ago. And he told all here his new heart was with the Cubs.
These notes that I'm reading off of, I put together last week while I was watching the Cubs be demolished in San Diego. And so there's going to be quite a lack of humor in here. I'm quite a Cub fan, and that was part of the hardest thing that I've had to go through this year.
While Ryan maintained his upbeat, high-on-life attitude, he couldn't help but get choked up when thanking those responsible for his life.
And without their expertise, I wouldn't be here, and a lot of you wouldn't be here. We are living and breathing proof of their competence.
Following the heart reunion, former patients got a chance to turn the table on surgery, reminisce about past experiences here, and learn about new surgical techniques. But when asked to tell me the most inspiring aspect of today's reunion, few came to any agreement.
Probably Jimmy Ryan's speech.
Kind of brings back memories.
The equipment that they got today.
I think I got choked up when Jimmy Ryan spoke.
I don't think there's a person here today that would argue that. Heidi Kemp, 27 Live Eyewitness News.
Today, he was in desperate need of a heart transplant. Well, not only did the McFarland man get his new heart, he's back in the swing of life. Eric Zatkowski reports.
What's up now?
On the surface, 43-year-old Jimmy Ryan looks like the average softball player. But underneath that green and gold jersey is a medical success story. Back in September of 1983, doctors at the University of Minnesota Hospital gave Ryan a new heart. Family and friends raised more than $100,000 to pay for the operation, and they couldn't have found a better investment.
Been able to play 9 holes of golf before I came out here today, and my energy level is really good. I've been able to do almost anything that I could do before. It's amazing. From the time that I woke up, I knew immediately that I was better, and things were going to be a lot better for me. Before surgery, I wasn't able to walk 10 feet without getting tired. Now I'm able to do almost anything.
Ryan wants to be a realtor, and he hopes to get a license very soon. But there will always be a place in his heart for people in similar situations.
One of the things that really helped me in Minnesota was realizing from the people that had the transplant before me that I could make it. And it just helped me immensely, and if I can do that for someone else, I'm more than happy to do it.
In case you were wondering, Ryan went 0 for 4 and his team lost a close game. But he's come back from adversity before, and you can bet he'll soon be back into the swing of things. Eric Zatkowski, 27 Live Eyewitness News tonight.
It's okay, Jimmy. Wait till next week.
The old collar, I know it well.
Softball, golf, he's doing very well.
Great heart. Great.
That's right.